Hello, I'm Teacher Robin. Today we are going to be talking about some of the most common mistakes that English learners make according to their native language. Okay? And I've chosen a few examples. Obviously, I can't talk about every language in the world, but I've chosen three different ones. I've chosen Spanish speakers, Russian speakers, and Mandarin speakers. Okay, so this is a very large population, and many of our students are from these countries. And so I want to focus on some of the grammar points and pronunciation issues that are specific to these language learners. Okay, so let's start the class. Before I show you this, let's start with a quote because I think this is important. This is a quote from Amy Chua, and she said, "Do you know what a foreign accent is? It's a sign of bravery." Okay, so that means if you are learning another language, in this case English, it means that you are brave. And if you have an accent, it's not a problem. So today's class, I'm not doing it to make fun or to show where you're wrong. I'm doing it to give you some tips and to show you some areas where you might want to practice a little more or improve if this is one of your native languages. Okay, so let's start with Spanish speakers. So many of our students are native Spanish speakers. Okay, one of the big issues for Spanish speakers are false friends because there are many words in Spanish that sound similar to English words. But they actually don't have the same meaning, and you have to be careful. So there are many examples. I'm going to look at two. Okay, a false friend between Spanish and English. One is embarrassed. Okay, so embarrassed. So the difference here in Spanish, the embarazada, this actually means to be pregnant, to be having a child. And to be embarrassed in English means that you feel shame after you've said something that you shouldn't, or you make a mistake, or you fall down and you feel embarrassed. Okay, so this is a very important difference. Also, constipated in Spanish, constipado means that you have a cold. Okay, and to be constipated in English means that you're having some stomach issues. Okay, so this is very different, the difference between being constipated and having a cold. Okay, so make sure you remember that one. Okay, another common mistake for Spanish speakers is possessive adjectives, because the word for his or her in Spanish is the same. Okay, so it's important to know the gender in English so you can use the correct possessive adjective. Another common mistake is the difference between do and make, because the word in Spanish is the same. Okay, so it's important to review these differences. I know this is difficult for all English learners, the differences between do and make, but especially for Spanish speakers because it is the same word in Spanish. Another common mistake is how to say your age. So in English, we use the verb to be to express our age, like I am 21, he is 35, etc. Okay, but in Spanish, they use the verb to have. So many people will say, I have 21, and that's not correct in English. So it's important to remember how we express age in English, which is with the verb to be. Okay, another example is when we express agreement. We say in English, I agree. Whereas in Spanish, it would be the verb to be, I am agree. So many Spanish speakers make this mistake. You say something and they say, oh, I am agree. But this is actually not correct. It's just I agree or I disagree. Okay. One other difference that I have is the difference between the B sound, the letter B, and the letter V. Okay, so these are actually the same pronunciation in Spanish And in English, they have a slight difference. So this B and V sound, you see how my face, my lips are different when I pronounce them, B and V. So this is something to keep in mind. Okay, now let's move on to another language, Russian. Now, I do not speak Russian, but I am going to give you some of the most common mistakes that native Russian speakers tend to make in English. So in Russian, there are no definite or indefinite articles, so Russian speakers tend to leave those out in English, like a, and, the, etc. So it's important to remember that every word should have an article, whether it's definite or indefinite. So that's something to review. In Russian, there are no dental fricatives. So this is something, if you watched my video a few weeks ago on the TH pronunciation, you'll remember that this is a difficult pronunciation for a lot of people, but the dental fricative is this TH sound. Okay, so for Russian speakers, a word like 3, the number 3, becomes like an F sound, free. 3 becomes free. Okay, so these dental fricatives are difficult for native Russian speakers. Russian also has fewer vowel sounds than the English language. We have up to 14 vowel sounds, so it is more difficult for them to really hear and pronounce the vowel sound correctly. So that's something to keep in mind if you are a native Russian speaker. Now, there are many more examples, but I just wanted to give a few. And now I want to talk about Mandarin. Chinese speakers, okay, in Mandarin there is no singular or plural, so that's something that's difficult for native speakers. Is in English, something is either singular or it's plural, so you have to use the correct article as well and the correct verb. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, the TH sound, this dental fricative, voiced or unvoiced, is difficult, as well as the L and R pronunciation. Okay, the letter L and the letter R. See, I'm doing it. The letter L and the letter R are difficult for Asian in general, but Mandarin especially speakers. The difference in pronunciation, and also intonation. Now, intonation is where we say a sentence and there is an emphasis on specific words in the sentence. So you don't speak flat like this. You intonate, you have a flow when you are speaking. Okay, so this is something that is also difficult for native Mandarin speakers. So something to keep in mind. Okay, I've just given some very general examples, but now I want to practice. I'm going to give you a few different sentences, and I want you to tell me in the comments what about these sentences is difficult or could be difficult for non-native speakers. Okay, here's an example. I ate a very berry ice cream. I ate a very berry ice cream. What's difficult about the pronunciation of that sentence? Here's another one. There are 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. What's difficult about that sentence? All right, here's another one. I will collect and correct the English exercises. I will collect and correct the English exercises. Okay, so tell me what about that sentence could be difficult, okay? And now I also want you to tell me what is difficult for you. Now, I've only mentioned native Spanish speakers, native Russian, and native Mandarin. There are so many more languages in the world. So tell me, if I haven't mentioned your native language, what is difficult for you? Is it a certain grammar point that you don't have in your native language? Is it pronunciation? What is most difficult about learning the English language for you coming from your native language? So I'm interested to hear your responses. I will try to do more of these kinds of series, like common mistakes and pronunciation tips, etc. So I know that's helpful for many of you. So I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. Even if none of the examples I gave are from your native language, I hope that you find something that you might need to practice or brush up on in English. So again, tell me in the comments about the examples and tell me what's difficult for you, and I look forward to reading your comments. So thanks for joining, and I will see you back here next week. Take care. Bye.